Hello, everyone. I'm going to do commentary on the video, the Football Terrace. He's a sore loser, this guy. And I will be saying exactly how I feel, my commentary. I'll also do commentary on this 10-minute video from Stephen. He's a Manchester City fan like I am, and then I'll do commentary video on Ray's video from City Fan TV. I'm a Manchester City fan. Okay.
Hello, good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. We're a few moments away from finding out the fate of Manchester City ahead of they've had their appeal with the Court of Arbitration for Sport in relation to their 2-year European ban, not just Champions League, but European ban that's been issued by UEFA. The verdict's going to be out with us in a few moments. And from my point of view, I really don't know which way it's going to go. There's a part of me that feels they need to be banned for what I've read, for what I feel they've done.
You feel they've done. You've got no evidence, Terry. You're biased and a dishonest person, Terry.
There's also the element of me that says, let's see what comes out in the wash. Maybe things have been fabricated by media outlets. Maybe some of the truths we've been given aren't quite how they seem. And from my point of view, I also feel, I do get this little sense deep down inside that it's going to be, I think what will end up happening is that the ban will just be reduced and there'll be a fine. And I don't know what that means. And what I mean by that is, I don't know where that leaves us in terms of the financial I don't know where that leaves us in terms of the financial fair play situation. If it's just a ban, if it's just a fine, does that mean that we can all go and do what Man City did and get away with it? You know, how many more teams are going to start to exploit the loopholes if they're able to do that? If they get this completely overturned and they're exonerated, I think financial fair play is done as a concept, which is really going to change the way in which you see the Man City spending money. You know, maybe, you know, I don't think it'll be too long until we see the Newcastle announce their new owners. If there's no financial fair play involved, you watch a madness going on there. You really will. And even like some of the clubs
I have no issue with new owners from other clubs spending their own money. That's fine. Financial fair play only helps the top clubs, the elite clubs. It didn't stop Barry going bust or getting kicked out of the Football League. Financial fair play, it is like keeping those teams at the top and no one else can go there.
Not sort of state-owned in that way, might end up spending bigger money. At the same time, if City haven't done anything wrong, and we have to be fair here, then fair play. They cannot be banned, and if they're found to be innocent, if they win their appeal, they have to be respected in that way also.
But and they did win their appeal.
I'm 50-50 with all of it right now. It's going to be a couple of minutes until we actually get this verdict through. But as I say, I'm legitimately in two minds about it. I'm not sure which. I'm not really sure which way it's going to go, and I'm not even sure, as it stands right now, what the implications are going to be on football. And I don't think we're not going to find out the implication on football today. It's going to take a few weeks for this to come through. But we're a few moments away from actually getting it. A lot of people in the comments here saying the ban is going to get overturned. Most people think it's going to get overturned. And the reason why I agree with you, and it's a gut feeling, is the amount of times we've seen teams get transfer bans and other punishments, and in the appeal, things are at the very least reduced or they get overturned and things like that. So I agree with you massively on this. I think that there is going to be an element of that, no doubt about it whatsoever. But we're a few moments away from getting it done. We're going to see what's going to be said here. I hope that they follow through with things. If they've broken the laws, if they've broken the rules, then they have to. They simply have to do it. But we will see. Nothing has been officially announced as far as I can see now. We're a few minutes into waiting. A few people are saying it's been upheld. No disrespect to any of you. I don't know whether you're telling me the truth or not. I haven't seen anything yet coming through on social media, but we will see. Breaking news. There's some that says it's been overturned. Hang on a sec. Is there anything official that's come out yet? Some are saying they've won it. So you guys are all telling me something different. I'm seeing some tweets here. There's one from a big City account. It looks like it's been. They've won. City appeal upheld. Kazza upheld City's appeal against the European. They will play in the Champions League. Man City have won their appeal. Wow, Man City win their appeal. It's been upheld.
So they should have.
They will be in the Champions League next year. That now, the title race is absolutely. That is now heated up the title race massively. The top 4 race is now heated up massively. Next season is going to be a madness. They win their appeal, and we need to wait for the dust to settle in relation to that. What does it actually say on this? It says CAS upheld City's appeal against their European ban. They will play in the Champions League next season. I think they're going to get a £10 million fine. So what's that interesting? If they're getting a £10 million fine, that means they are cheats.
No, it doesn't mean they're cheats. They got the fine because they didn't cooperate with UEFA. That's what CAS said, right? So you are a dishonest person, Terry, right? And they were cleared of financial fair play. You were biased and not United biased supporter.
That means they are cheats. They just had the punishment reduced.
No, you are a dirtbag. So
that's the interesting
Terry,
thing here.
A dirtbag. Bag. A biased dirtbag.
If they're still paying a fine, they've broken the law. They're just not being banned. And you can argue that's what I want to wait to see here. I want to wait to see for the actual facts to come out. Because if you're fined, it still means you've done something wrong. I'm getting a feeling that's wrong. Do me a big favour. Please hit that like button. Over 1,000 of you tuning in right now. It says here, City react to winning their appeal. It says, whilst Man City and its legal advisors are yet to review the full ruling of the Court of Arbitration, the club welcomes the implications of today's ruling as a validation of the club's position and the body of evidence that is able to present. The club wishes to thank the panel members for their diligence and due process in this decision. See, I get all that, but again, my view is this. Are they still being fined? And that's what I want some clarification on now. A few people are saying they are going to be.
You're fined not for financial fair play, but fined because they didn't cooperate fully with UEFA. That was the reason for the fine. And you're not being honest, Terry. You are an extremely dishonest person.
Fined. So it's been overturned. They've made their statement, but are they still being fined is the question. If they're still being fined, the Manchester Evening News has made a post on this here. I'm going to wait for this to load up in front of us. They've issued the statement. The fine's been reduced to 10 million quid. So City are still guilty. City is still guilty.
No, they're not, mate. They've been cleared, but as you are clearly a dishonest person.
You're paying a £10 million fine for breaking the rules. You're just lucky that they haven't banned you. So you're not innocent. Remember that. You're not innocent, City fans. You can claim it all you want, but you've been found guilty. All that you've had is your sentence has been reduced. You know? You're literally not innocent here. I just want to wait for clarity for that to come through from the CAS website. Man City are guilty of breaking financial fair play rules. They are guilty of fraudulent behaviour in falsifying money. Literally.
No, because they were cleared. You are a liar, Terry. A liar. And you can't be trusted. You are a complete dirtbag. That's my commentary, Terry.
Guilty, but they're not being banned. So that's what we were waiting on here. We can now officially call Man City cheats. Manchester City are officially cheats. It's been proven. All that's happened is their
and you are a complete dirtbag.
Manchester City are officially cheats. Super chat here says, why hand out punishments when you're always going to seemingly overturn or reduce them? Mate, it's the way of the world, you know. It's the way of the world. Someone's saying unlucky, Terry. Listen to me. There's no unluckiness from my point of view. I haven't died and allowed my morality to drop today. As I said all along, go back to the top of this video. We're going to wait to see the outcome. If they're innocent, then I'll apologise for any slander I sent their way. But they're not innocent. Manchester City are officially...
No, because they were clearly cleared, and you are a complete dirtbag, Terry. A complete dirtbag.
Cheats. Manchester City have cheated the system. Manchester City have artificially created the path that they've got now. They are where they are now in football because of cheating, but the powers that be think a £10 million fine is the price for that. £10 million for a club, by the way, that are super rich. It is a bit of a joke, really. It's very unfair to the teams that have done this properly. Very, very fair. But listen, now as football fans, as rivals, we can all turn on Man City, and we know you are officially cheats. Officially cheats.
They were cleared, mate.
A saying here says, yeah, we can call them cheats, but you better call them a Champions League team next season. Oh, you are a Champions League team. No doubt about it. But Man City fans, how does it feel to know your success is built upon cheating, financial doping, and the breaking of the rules?
No, they didn't break the rules. They were cleared. See, you are an extremely dishonest person. And you are a dirtbag to Terry.
That's what you've done. As long as you can... I will call you a Champions League team as long as you can admit that you are cheats. Proven cheats. But there we go. 1 second, I've just got to tweet out. Man City reduce their ban to a whopping £10 million fine. But this proves they are cheats. How can City fans be happy about this?
That was one of the first tweets he made on Twitter.
Put that out there.
Yesterday.
1 sec. Have their ban reduced. Sorry, people. I'm just ban reduced to a whopping £10 million fine, but this proves they are cheats. How can City fans be happy about this? There we go. Just got to tweet that out there. Let's see a few more of these comments here. Salty, salty, salty. It's not salty, bro. It's not salty. Like I said all along, everyone knows my views on cheats, and that's the point I'm making.
No, they were cleared, and you are a dirtbag, Terry, and a sore loser, mate.
Here, City are proven cheaters, and I just want to know how our City fans can be happy about that. You've not been exonerated here. You've been proven as guilty. So I don't understand why you're happy. Think about it. Like people you're celebrating because you're still in the Champions League, but you're proven cheaters. Nothing you win is going to be recognised by the footballing world anymore. Nobody is going to recognise what City achieve. It isn't real. It isn't real. Overplan here says, imagine cheating for a decade and being fined the value of Fabian Delph. That's true. What you just said there is the truest thing you'll hear. It's the truest thing you're going to hear. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace, really. The more I sit here and think about it, the more it doesn't make it. It does make sense. It does make sense. UEFA don't have a backbone. But you are cheats, and that's what you will be called and what you will be referred to as every single...
And to me, you'll be referred to as a dirtbag, Terry, a dishonest dirtbag.
time you lift the trophy, the platform that you have built is tarnished, is rotten, is there's no authenticity with it. There's no morality. There's no integrity to it. Now, if City fans can celebrate that, then fine. Absolutely, you've got a better conscience. You've got no conscience, and you're able to do that. From my point of view, and I stand by this wholeheartedly, the fact that you've been proven today as cheaters. If that's my club, Man United, I'm pushing back against that. Pav here says the system is a joke. If clubs like PSG and Man City are being let off with light fines, then clubs who break the rules in future should be given light punishments too. Well, that's the whole point. Let's not worry about financial fair play anymore. Let's just go out and spend. And beyond that, not only just not worry about it, let's falsify our...
They shouldn't have financial fair play anyway, Terry. Right? I don't agree with financial fair play, right?
Accounts to do it. If City had done nothing wrong, they wouldn't have been fined 10 million quid.
Well, Cass said in their statement, right, that City have been cleared they were just fined because they didn't cooperate fully with UEFA. That was Cass's response, Terry. And you should know that you're dishonest.
But there we go. Well, hang on here. It says here, Man City did not... media release, Man City did not disguise equity funding or the sponsorship contributions. Cease decision, exclusion from particular competition lifted, fine maintained but reduced 10 million. I don't know about that. Someone has sent me that link, but for me, I don't know, £10 million fine for not cooperating. If that's true, then look, I stand corrected. But in my opinion, there's something don't feel right about this. A £10 million fine don't mean we're cheats. What do you think you got a £10 million fine for? The Court of Arbitration and UEFA can spin it however they want. But if you'd done nothing wrong, you would have cooperated. You would have cooperated. You didn't. This is just a cover-up. But there we go. £10 million fine is a slap on the wrist at best. Financial fair play has been completely undermined. And I agree with you. And do you know what? This is what I would say. The only way I can accept this decision moving forward is if nobody else is punished in future. What wouldn't be fair is for Newcastle to break these rules now, but Newcastle to get the ban and Man City not to. Josh here said City should be banned alone for breaching FFP for players like Mendy. Newcastle can now follow that blueprint. Yeah, absolutely. But for me, I want to wait and see what's being said here. There's a full story I'm going to jump onto here about this. I just want to read this out. It says here that Man City have won their appeal against the European ban and will be free to play in the competition. The Court of Arbitration of Court agreed with the Blues that UEFA's decision to throw them out of the competition for serious breaches of financial fair play and the club's licensing rules were alleged, was wrong. The details of the CAV ruling are yet to be released, so we don't actually know why they've been fined or not. It's interesting what they've said. They've just said that to throw them out was wrong, and that's what I think you'll end up seeing. They're not. I don't think they're going to be exonerated, Man City. I think what you're going to find is the punishment. The Court of Arbitration is going to say the punishment is too harsh. It's going to damage too many players' careers. It'll damage the livelihood of we won't earn as much money now, meaning we'll have to reduce staff numbers. They will push it out there. It says the details of the CAS ruling are yet to be released, but City are believed to have appealed on the basis that UEFA's decision was based on incomplete and hacked emails. So hacked emails, meaning yes, the information has been found upon illegally. So we've got ourselves out. I mean, again, it's a good technical thing. What's up with FFP? I don't really understand it. Is what, as I said, because it's gone through the media. City faced a 2-year ban, which could cost them up to £300 million in lost revenue and could also have led to their star players leaving. The problem began with, okay, football leagues cheats. So nothing's actually been, there's no official stat. I think, this is just my opinion, what we're going to end up seeing is there's going to be an element of the punishment was too harsh for the crime because it wasn't, and also that they felt that, what you'll also probably find Cass will say is that UEFA punishment was excessive because they had to be seen to be making an example of City because of the public attention this news got, because it was broke like, via a WikiLeaks type field. That's how, I guarantee you it'll be along those lines. I absolutely think it will be along those lines. Someone here says, no, it does not mean they are cheats or guilty. Really,
They are not cheats, Terry. They were cleared. And you are a liar, Terry. You are a liar.
Properly, they are fined because they didn't cooperate properly with the investigation. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It says the Court of Arbitration agree with the Blues that UEFA's decision to throw them out of the competition for serious breaches of their financial fair play rules and their club's licensing rules, as were alleged in the as well as alleged non-cooperation, was wrong. That's a broad statement. We don't have the finer details on that yet. For me, I don't think they're going to get a £10 million fine purely for not cooperating. I don't believe or think or feel that for a single second. However, if that's the case, then you will see me come out and apologise. But that seems an excessive fine for not cooperating. And equally, if you've got nothing to hide, why are you not cooperating? Again, we'll see what comes out in the full statement. But for me, it feels like cheats.
It feels like you're a dirtbag, mate.
Yeah.
A biased dirtbag.
But there we go. Let's see here. I love reading these comments. Devil in the Detail says, this does make a mockery of the financial fair play rules, as a fine isn't enough to enforce the rules. This paves the way. Well, exactly. The fine, the £10 million, saves them from losing £300 million. If I said to you now, give me a tenner, and you learn £300 million out of it, you're going to pay me a tenner, aren't you? Sorry, 300 quid out of it, you're going to pay me a tenner. But yeah, as I say, from my point of view, I don't feel shocked by the result. We'll wait to see the full cash ruling. And listen, if it doesn't say they've been exonerated and there is no evidence of cheating, they've cheated. It might say it's not conclusive, and because this is like a civil matter rather than a legal matter. But we'll see. We'll see. But as it stands, and this is the official element, Manchester City will be playing in the Champions League next year.
So they should.
That's a fact. That in itself is an absolute fact. I'm just looking here to see if there's any more news on this. What Sky Sports said here. UEFA takes note that the decision taken by the Sports Arbitration for Sport can reduce the sanction imposed on Man City by UEFA notes that the CAS panel found that there was insufficient conclusive evidence to uphold their conditions, a specific case, and that any allegation breaches were time barred due to the 5-year period foreseen by UEFA's regulations. Over the last few years, financial fair play has played a significant role in protecting clubs and helping them. So what they're sort of saying here is that there wasn't conclusive evidence that they cheated. So that will give City fans that notion of there wasn't conclusive evidence, so we're going to say we're innocent. Plus, it was time barred. A lot of this stuff happened over 5 years ago. So it was time barred due to the 5-year period foreseen under the regulations. So they couldn't actually. So what it sounds like is there was inconclusive evidence because a lot of the evidence was outside the 5-year time bar. And this is the thing with law that is amazing. You can get away with so much with technicalities and loopholes. So it wasn't there was no evidence. It's that the evidence was inconclusive. There wasn't sufficient conclusive evidence because it was time barred, because it was too old. You know, like when you try and open a mobile phone contract and you take your water bill down as proof of address, but it's a year old and it's out of date. It's a real water bill, but it's no longer valid. That's actually a little bit funny, to be fair. That's a little bit funny. But there we go. This is it. UEFA notes that the CAS panel found there was no sufficient conclusive evidence to uphold all of the conclusions in the specific case, and that many of the alleged breaches were barred due to the 5-year time period. So basically, cheat, and as long as you don't get caught in the first 5 years, you're fine. Speaking of Sky Sports, sports lawyer Dan Yeaney said,
"They were cleared, Terry. They were cleared."
There is grounds now for UEFA to go to the Swiss federal tribunal. It does happen on occasions in sports cases, but the grounds to be able to appeal those decisions are pretty narrow, usually based on procedural fairness, judicial and public policy gains. For the time being, at least, it's a very big victory for Man City. And it is. And as I say, when the full case comes out and there's no evidence of cheating, then I'll say they're not cheats. But if it's that it's inconclusive, if it is time barred, I ain't believing that. And I'm cool. That's a legality way of getting out of it. Ghostwriter says, I'm an AFC fan, but you're just scared you won't make top 4. No, not at all. This isn't that. If Man City haven't cheated, I've got no issues. It's very easy to read through spin. That's all.
Another 50 seconds, so we're
It's
finishing.
very easy to read through spin, and for me, all the answers is a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. What you're saying is, when you say there's not conclusive evidence, I want you to explain what that means. It sounds like a lot of the alleged allegations were time barred. So let's say I've got 10 pieces of evidence against these 10 breaches, but they're over 5 years old. That means it's inconclusive. And yeah, it's done. But anyway, they're in, and there's nothing we can do about it. United should go and spend 500 million this summer, and then falsify it. But listen, everyone who's tuned in this morning, thank you very, very much. As always, do me a big favour, hit the like button.
And boo you United, to Terry! Boo United! Now will we get a better opinion than Terry?
Manchester City did not disguise equity funding as sponsorship contributions. They were the words of Cass. Manchester City have been cleared, and I'm absolutely delighted. I know I've just done a live stream, but I want to do an actual video where we can sit and discuss this for a good solid 10-15 minutes to talk about what this means for Manchester City. Honestly, this is huge. This is absolutely massive. Manchester City are massive. Now, we know this is big because of what it could have entailed if Manchester City had been found guilty, but I'll run you through a list of potential ramifications if City had. Now, not only would have this been bad news for the players, you look in the likes of Laporte, Ederson, obviously Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, all these players potentially looking at Manchester City and saying, do you want to stay here for 2 years without Champions League football? Not only would it have been bad on that front, it would have been bad massively on a financial scale as well. City would have lost money from the Champions League involvement, which is one of Manchester City's biggest contributors to our income. We would have lost money from sponsors for losing out on Champions League bonuses. We would have lost money out on players, and we would have had to pay their bonuses even though we wouldn't have been in there. We would have lost that as well in reputation. Manchester City would have been viewed as a tarnished brand from loads of potential investors. It would have been huge, an absolutely catastrophic blow. City would have also then struggled as well to essentially replace some of these senior players. Do you really think someone like Koulibaly would come to Manchester City if they had 2 years outside the Champions League? Of course he's not. At his age, he wants to be winning the Champions League, so he wouldn't be involved. It would have affected our planning off the pitch. It would have affected absolutely everything Manchester City were planned over the next 5 years. It would have been absolutely catastrophic. The ramifications, don't even bear thinking about. But what this means now, it's great. We can see extensions potentially from some senior players. Maybe Guardiola will stay around. Maybe Manchester City will invest more this summer than they were planning to initially. And also, I guess, the faith in the club, for some people, may be renewed a little bit. Now, I'll be honest about this. I don't think Manchester City are perfect. I don't think anyone in football is perfect. I think largely billionaires and millionaires tend to get away on technicalities wherever they can in terms of, not in this instance, but I think they'll always kind of look at the rules and see how they can get around them in the most legal way possible. I think that's a common thing for people at a high end where there's that much money basically at risk. Having said that, I don't think City did anything different than United would do, or Liverpool would do, or any other club would do. And the idea that City's sponsorships were being disguised as equity funding has basically been proven to be bullshit by CAS. CAS are independent and unbiased. You can't turn around and say that they were bribed by Manchester City. It's childish. It's nonsense. They come up with their verdict, and it's legal and it's fair. Basically, you're going to have to accept it if you're a fan of a rival club that Manchester City are no different than the rest of them. You can argue whether Manchester City are a little bit dodgy fundamentally, but so are UEFA. So are basically everyone in football. When you look at what there was a great thread on Twitter from Swiss Ramble, who's a financial expert based in Switzerland, and he was saying a few months ago that City's investments in sponsorship, and he's an Arsenal fan, I think, for what it's worth, but he was looking at the accounts and saying City's investments as sponsorships from companies that are basically invested in the company as well was no different to the likes of Fiat, who partially own Juventus, investing an awful lot to sponsor Jeep, on the shirts, or Adidas and Audi in Bayern, and so on and so on. Basically, there was loads of clubs throughout Europe at the top. You also have investors and sponsors who have very similar kind of, similar alignments, put it that way. And City basically are no different on that front. And at no point did Manchester City ever disguise that. And that's what's been proven now. If we look at the actual technicalities of it, UEFA tried to get Manchester City on dishonest concealment, which according to people in the legal profession, and of course I'm not a lawyer, is an incredibly serious allegation. And the burden always is then on the prosecutors to actually prove that. Manchester City were found to not be guilty of that. It's a very, very hard case to win that, allegedly. And also there was the whole thing that basically they were... They'd already settled previously on the previous charge a long time ago, and there was a 5-year settlement period. And once UEFA, every season UEFA would go over Manchester City's books and they would check them, and then they would write them off saying if they were okay during the settlement period. UEFA did that, signed it off, and basically said, yep, you're all good. And then under peer pressure basically from other clubs, decided to go at Manchester City again. It actually predates the Der Spiegel leaks as well, so they really tried to get Manchester City in any way they could. They were just egged on with confidence, and they were also basically saying they were going to ban Manchester City from the Champions League before they'd even started the proceedings. They knew what they were doing. They went against their own rules, and if you don't like the rules, that's your prerogative. But you have to understand that Manchester City did everything within the book according to UEFA's own very dodgy rules anyway. I'm sorry, financial fair play, we all know, was brought in to stop Manchester City spending loads of money and other such teams. It always has been, it always will be. They can act like they're doing...
That's right, mate. And this Terry is a dirtbag, a dishonest dirtbag.
It to stop smaller clubs going bust, but they don't give a fuck. It's always been about protecting the certain massive clubs and investment. In the end, UEFA just didn't have a strong case against Manchester City, and I think this was actually quite clear cut in the end. It wasn't a case of that City won on some kind of technicality. No, it's just genuinely legal proceedings. There has to be strong evidence. There has to be a precedent. There has to be all these kind of things, and that's how court cases are won, because there's an awful lot of money in this. And if you're going to make a claim that could take massive earnings away from someone, you have to prove it, and UEFA couldn't prove it in the end, and that's literally all that matters. One thing I do hate is the idea that Manchester City fans all of a sudden have to answer for this. I've enjoyed giving out a little bit on Twitter today, I'm not going to lie, but I've hated for years the implication from certain sports journalists who take this all so personally, that Manchester City fans are just some willing, complicit, immoral scumbags for actually supporting the club that they do. It's been tiring, it's been awful, and they've always acted like Manchester City were going to be found guilty, and that they were guilty regardless of what anything came up with. And I love the fact that some don't even have the balls to admit that Manchester City maybe just be innocent. We can talk about this £10 million fine as if that proves that therefore Manchester City were guilty. No, it doesn't. This was based around an entirely different thing. This was apparently Manchester City not being willing to communicate with UEFA. We got a charge for essentially being a bit rude. I'll take that, and I'm sorry, but when UEFA decided that Manchester City were going to be banned from the Champions League, and they made their minds up, and they'd already said to people that City were going to be banned from it before they'd even started the course proceedings, can you really blame Manchester City for not trusting UEFA and stuff? You can't blame them at all. City probably were a little bit uncooperative, but they didn't like UEFA at this point. They didn't trust them. They decided UEFA were going against their own rules to change it, to make Manchester City look bad wherever they could do, and they didn't like it. And City don't have to answer to that. This won't go anywhere. There'll be no UEFA won't appeal this. There will be no tribunals. I'm almost certain this is where it ends. I even don't think Manchester City will go for financial fair play and go for that in terms of legal proceedings. I think City will just leave it and accept it and take the kind of moral high ground here. I don't think for PR reasons City actually want to be the ones that seem to be destroyed football in the eyes of many people, because they all feel that if City take down financial fair play, that they've done that. Even though FFP is an absolute sham anyway, in my humble opinion. There's the humble opinion for people who watch regularly. I still don't think City will actually go for that. I think they'll see the bigger picture here and just kind of crack on. And I also think City are going to spend big this summer. I genuinely believe City will think, well, you know what, fuck them. We're going to flex our muscles a little bit. We're going to rebuild this squad that needs rebuilding, and we're going to be good, and we're going to be happy, and we're going to be confident, and everything is looking at Manchester City. I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. It's been really nerve-wracking. I've kind of taken it in my stride a little bit, but this morning at 9:20, I was absolutely shitting it. The verdict's come through, and City been cleared of not disguising equity funding as sponsorship contributions in the word of cast themselves. It's wonderful. I can't pretend not to be absolutely delighted watching all these journalists like Barney Rones that are absolutely breakdown on Twitter today. We're seeing the likes of Mark Ogden and Nick Harris and all these lot looking for technicalities, looking for reasons why they still can hate Manchester City. They're all looking for it because they all hate Manchester City. They hate the fact that City fans have defended them. And once again, there's been some City fans who've been nothing but reasonable and discussed these bare issues like adults with them, attempted to debate it in a reasonable way without getting personal. And they've been met with blocks or belittling, patronising statements consistently. Personally, I've stepped back from the financial fair play stuff for some time because I'm not an expert on this. I don't pretend to be, and the idea that football fans have to be an expert on this is absolutely farcical in the first place. We are football fans. We like watching blokes kick a ball around a pitch. You know, we don't like talking about finances instinctively. But I'm sorry, in this sense, you can engage in a bit of schadenfreude. You can enjoy the misery of others, and particularly when they're kind of snivelling little snide journalists who've done everything they can at every opportunity to make City look bad, and also be patronising and arrogant to Manchester City fans, even the ones who've been nice. I've tried as well a couple of times with people like Delaney and that, but they've always been rude, they've always been arrogant and dismissive, and it's absolutely pointless. So yes, forgive me if I'm enjoying watching them suffer a bit today, because they are childish little worms wriggling around in the dirt, trying to work out what to do with themselves now, because they've failed in their only goal of making Manchester City look to be the big bad villains of football. We are not perfect. I am not naive on that, but we are not as bad as they think, and we're no worse than the rest of them. City will carry on. We will win the Champions League at some point. Hopefully the fans will be back in the ground next year and we boo UEFA louder than ever before, because it'll be absolutely beautiful and delightful. I'm delighted. I was not expecting this, if I'm being honest. I was fearing the worst, but that's 34 years of being a Manchester City fan for you. Still cynicism, but we've won, and it's huge for Manchester City. Good. No worrying about De Bruyne leaving, no worrying about Edison going. I was worried about these things, and life is looking good. We've got academy graduates now in the first team, and Foden and Garcia. Doyle's made his debut. Manchester City possibly could go far in the Champions League. Who knows? We've won that. Guardiola might stay. Who knows? The journos are gutted, delightful, and life's looking good. Guys, I love you all absolutely loads. Thank you all who watched the live stream.
Right. Okay, thanks, mate. He's an honest person. Not like this dishonest dirtbag here. Terry, that's his name, from the Football Terrace. And now it's 14 minutes of...
Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. I expect all you City fans are in pretty good moods tonight.
And he's an honest person too, Ray.
There's only one big story of the day, guys. Manchester City have indicated we've had our 2-year ban from the Champions League, or basically European football, overturned at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And our fine has been reduced. I think we've ended up with a €10 million fine for not cooperating fully with UEFA. Bloody hearty UEFA. And it's fantastic news for the club. As I said several times, it makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference to the club in terms of, you know, any potential risk that players might leave. Just going to make sure they don't close this park on me, guys. Normally they close the park at sunset, and it's coming up to that now. So, hi Angus, hope you're well, buddy. So, look, there was a small potential risk if City had a 2-year ban upheld with all the situation with COVID. You know, it might have been some players wanted to move on for various reasons. They want to play in the Champions League. It would have stopped players coming potentially, because they want to play in the Champions League. Can you imagine Koulibaly? I've said this many times. Koulibaly's 29. If we had a 2-year ban upheld, he'd be 31 if he joined us this summer. before we were potentially back in the Champions League. And he's going to miss 2 really important years. Same with David Alaba. He's 28. He'd be 30. And players at that stage of their career don't want to miss those years. And also it would have affected our money. We're losing, I reckon, over £100 million a season if we didn't have Champions League football. And on top of all that, if there's no fans in the stadium next year, we'll lose another 50 million on top of that. So it's about 150, 160 million quid will be short next season. And we might get bits of extra money here and there, but would have been, it had a huge impact on what we could spend to comply with FFP and the attractiveness of players to come to City. And once again, we'd have ended up having to pay more money to buy players, more incentives, like to the agents, to signing on bonuses, and higher wages. Hi, Danny. Hope you're well, mate. You've been singing Blue Moon. I tell you what, Angus, I'll be singing it all night. I've nearly lost my voice.
Good.
Kex, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're well. Rival fans are very salty. They all keep crying bribe.
Look, I'm going to go now.
Look,
but,
they're so...
Ray's a fair and honest person. The same with Stephen here. He's an honest person as well, right? This guy, Terry, is an extremely dishonest person. Okay, thank you.